Well, I'll be the first to admit I was exhausted today, and I don't know why. The weekend was long. Takes its toll on the whole barn, right? Like you guys know, if that broadcast was 5.5 hours long on Saturday, how long we were actually working in the barn between training the other horses, getting there a little bit early to get ready, and then putting all the horses away. I myself didn't get home till 2:33 in the afternoon. And my wife didn't get home till 4 o'clock. So Sunday's better. You wake up, you're a little charged, but the weather's been so goddamn cold. Today it was -3 when I got to the barn. It was cold. I had my winter gear on today. Last week we were in t-shirts at the barn, but it just, I think it takes its toll, right? Between all that's going on, when you get built into a routine, a rhythm, right? Get up in the morning, go to the barn, get done, make sure the barn's running all right mechanically behind the scenes, make sure everybody's emails are answered. If there's money to go out, send it out. If there's money to come in that hasn't come in, send people reminders. But you just have that routine, right? This time of year, go to Ohio, race the horses. It was funny because, it wasn't funny, it was actually really sad, but we got, on Facebook, you get those updates every day. This is what you did a year ago today or whatever. A year ago last week, or early in the week, we were at Great Wolf Lodge in Cincinnati. We were racing in the Hackett, getting geared up for Ohio. So excited about going to travel all summer. The kids are happy not just to get out of school, but to start coming on the road. You're trying to get all the stable. This is the time of year we're talking about what stables are gonna get what horses and where they're gonna go. Now you're left trying to figure out, are they gonna race? When are they gonna race? We've already missed one stake race, I believe, in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Ontario. We're gonna miss at least one more. So where are they gonna put those? How are they gonna re-race those? They need to. Those are points races, right? So and it's not like anybody out there can answer it. They can't. This is a world thing, right? This is bigger than the industry. So I think it's just hang on tight, and when we get a chance to race, we aren't going to be in full gear, right? We aren't going to be in beast mode to get these horses raced and get underway and get the summer going. We're all still going to be under this umbrella of concern and uncertainty for quite a while. So my routine has changed. I went from spending a lot of time doing things, and I was okay with that. It was, as I said, a routine. Now you have this different thing. You get up in the morning, try and figure out what lies ahead, both bills wise and what the barn's going to do. Every day we get the same emails, the same as everybody. Everybody wants to know, what are we doing with the 3-year-olds if they're not racing? Well, I shared an article today saying that Pennsylvania was looking to reopen their economy. What does that mean for horse racing? I just got an email from Tim, our trainer Tim Twaddle, who thinks that the first part of May we'll be back racing. Well, I can't turn those 3-year-olds out. You can't turn them out for 2 weeks. So, well, it's the 1st of May, April. You turn them out for 2 weeks, they'll be ready for the end. They're not ready. They'll be ready to come back in. They'll be ready to begin training again. You can't just sit for 2 weeks in the field. These aren't aged horses. There was a day and time, for those of you that are old horsemen out there was a day and time where, you could race a horse out of the field, right? Train them up, race them, put them in the field 3 or 4 days, jog them a couple of days, and go race them again. These are 3-year-olds. These are sophomores. You can't do that. Now, some of the horses, Beach Boutique, trained by herself, they look great. We're managing the horses. If they feel like they're on a line a little bit more, training harder at the farm, by harder, I mean even 212, 210, then we'll go with them by themselves. Trafalgar wasn't on a line, but I was worried about her weight, right? She was a smaller filly, thinner filly. So, and these are horses that take their training very seriously. So when you put them in a set, it's not like, easy, girl, just go easy. She wants to get at them, right? She wants to train. And they're competitors. They have a competitive nature to them. And that's the way we've trained them since day one anyway. So Sebastian Hughes, another horse, Johan we're going to go with. So I got thinking about it today. I don't think we'll do the drone Saturday. I think we'll do it on Wednesday. If we're going to train a little bit harder for some of the horses, let's do it on a 10-day schedule. Let them train by themselves, like the Wednesday and this coming Saturday, just easy. Take things easy by themselves. And the 2-year-olds, put them in smaller sets like we did today. I'm going to tell you about some that I went with. You guys knew who was getting on my list, horses I wanted to go with. And that list has proved effective all year. You've seen, obviously, GW Chrome is a huge graduate from the after-school class that we had him in, where it was, as we try to keep these horses on a case-by-case basis, the most important thing is to recognize what their issues are, when they'll get over them, and how to keep them from coming back. And I firmly believe by pushing the horses a little bit in different times of their training, you get a look at where their issues are, right? What's eating at them. I went with Broadway Roll today because I looked at the video, same as our clients that own the video, or own the filly. She started way back, finished back. You know, Broadway Roll is a very effective filly. I asked Danny, he said, a little rolly in the last turn, a little this, a little that. Okay. I went with her today. She was awesome. I came first over in a set of 4. Now, we went a mile in 39. That's what we're supposed to go on Wednesday, 40, 39. These horses, going in 40 with these horses right now feels like you're in reverse. So I just moved her first. We were only going a mile. I just moved her first over at the 5/8, sat outside of Cut the Line, and then we finished up right together, and I got by her right at the wire. But Broadway Roll was awesome today. So for Pete and our partners on Broadway Roll, the old Broadway Roll was there today. I'll go with her next drone day, but she's the same filly she was. She's all business. I just moved her, and the one thing I noticed about her was when you move the filly, usually she gets right at it, right? And I like that. I like effective horses that can go from second gear to fifth gear in this, snap of fingers and snap over to the front, right? You want horses that are effective in a mile. But today it was the first time I actually saw her methodically, for a little horse, methodically grind up alongside the leader, sit there, start to pick the bit up coming out of the last turn, and sprint to the wire. And it was impressive. It just shows how much they've learned and how intelligently, how they intelligently use that information on the track, even when they're training. It just, as I said, it isn't that we're going to have the best horses, but we need to have the smartest ones. And there's some really intelligent horses here. Broadway Roll is one of them for sure. James went with That's My Girl today. You saw she was a little warm, and I kind of, when I went by her with GW Chrome on Saturday, I kind of got her revved up, and then she got hit in the jog cart and made a break. James went with her today. We had put a snake cord on her and a hood on her, and she was much better. James said she was absolutely perfect. Now, many of you that own shares in Argento saw he looked terrible on the weekend. I pulled up and I said to James, how did this horse make it this long without trotting hobbles? He said, he's good most of the time. I said, yeah, well, he's going to be good with hobbles on come Wednesday. I went with him today, much better. Now, the majority owner, if you will, of Argento, the horse, the person that holds the most shares, is our blacksmith. He loved this horse. He loved Donato Hanovers. First thing we did was take the toe weights off him. A lot of the times when we put hobbles on horses, we take the weight off of them, because if we're going to have the hobbles on a little bit tight, or even in a medium setting, so to speak, you're putting weight on them to get them to stretch out, most of the time, accentuate their gait, have a little more weight and balance to a trotter. But when you put the hobbles on them, that weight and balance kind of works against them. So I like to take the weights off. And first thing we did was take the toe weights off from Trainman today. He was good. I called Felix after and said, take those flip-flops and weight and 5/8 off him. He's got trotting shoes on. Just put a set of full swedges on him. We'll see how he'll go on Saturday. Another reason I want to push the drone, there's a few of these horses that, one, all of our babies worked incredibly hard last week. They don't need to be on a 7-day schedule working that hard. So again, we have a little bit of time here. We're going to go on a 10-day schedule. So we're going to go train them hard, say last Saturday, which they did. Easy Wednesday, easy Saturday, harder on Wednesday. And because you guys are home too, doesn't matter to you when the drone is, as long as you get a chance to see your babies train. So we're going to push them to Wednesday, I believe, will be the next drone day, and that is another reason why. So Broadway Roll was exceptionally good. That's My Girl was good. Argento was good. Made a few little changes with Argento also. James went with Tipsy and Tanzanite Tricks, and James and I, I get my backup sometimes. We made some changes, and then when people want to change the stuff around, sometimes I get my backup, and and James and I, we argue back and forth a little bit. But here's the thing: Tanzanite Tricks had a beautiful gait with no hobbles on and a lot of weight on, but she wasn't comfortable, right? You couldn't use her effectively. I took all the weight off, as I said I just did, and I put the trotting hobbles on her. She had less of a beautiful trotter's gait, but was very effective. You could move her like a pacer. She was strong. And then we went to the other day, and she didn't look as comfortable, did she? For those of you who watch Tanzanite Tricks or have shares in Tanzanite Tricks, I know Paul had commented on her that she didn't look as good. And you're right, she didn't look as good. Her back's a little sore. She had those OCDs out of her hocks, and I think she's horsing a little bit. Just a number of things are playing on her. So James thought putting the weight back on would make her look better. He put some toe weights on her and bell boots. She wasn't as good today. I knew she wouldn't be, but you never really know. I mean, I can say that here and now, but you never really know. So I think it's just a number of things. We have her on Regamate, like a lot of the other fillies, where they get cycling, they get in heat. Regamate is a good medication, effective on keeping them out of heat. So we have her on Regamate now. We're going to work on her back if she's a little crampy over her back. And I suspect it'll just take a couple of days. Hopefully by next Wednesday she'll be fine, I assume. Nothing serious though. Nothing serious in that regard. One horse that was on my mind in a very serious way was Italian Grit. This horse, I said to Mark, and I own all of them. Mark Adams, the breeder, and myself own all the colts. There's shares up there, but I can't really say, hey, you should go and buy them, right? Because he looked like crap the other day. He runs in the same place. When you watch him up close, it looks like he just doesn't care. And then when I talk to James, he's like, yeah, he doesn't care. So he was gelded a little bit later on. It might take a little bit of time, but I went with him today. We made just a couple of little equipment changes with him, and he was very, very good today, but I think he knew something was up. When I jumped on him, he knew something was up, and he decided that he was going to do his work very well. Does that mean he's going to continue to do it very well moving forward, no matter who drives him on what day? I don't know. So we just got to get him in a consistent basis of moving forward. But Italian Grit was very, very, very good today. And one other horse that I thought was just, well, I only went with a few because I had to go with some 3-year-olds. I'll get to those in a second also. Barbie's Crown was, and I know, again, Steve Palermo and I own Barbie's Crown. Steve usually watches these videos, and I know he's been a little preoccupied with a lot of stuff going on with him also. So I haven't bothered him that much. Stacy Hanover was good the other day. Wasn't as good today. I think she's going through a little growth spurt. And when I say she was good the other day, she looked awesome at the end of the mile, but a little clunky at the start of the mile. Gonna make a few little changes on Stacy. Obviously, the speed is there, the talent is there. Just having her comfortable 100% on the time of the time on the track is what we need to get to right now with Stacy. So we're gonna make a few little shoeing changes with her this week. But I noticed she's getting a lot bigger, so it simply could be in heat also. So we're gonna make a few little shoeing changes with her. Not too concerned with Stacy. No lameness issues, no getting over on a shaft or on a line. She's pretty constant that way, so I'm not really worried. But Barbie's Crown was lights out good. I told you guys the story about the shin boots and James the other day, and how it almost seems like if Barbie's Crown has a different color tongue tie on, she just can't function. It was funny, but what I mean is she's very, very finicky, and she felt like just like a boss today. I got away third in just a set of 3. I moved her first over, just let her grind up alongside the leader. I cut her loose at the head of the lane. She trotted right by the horse and into their turn hard, over by the road where they all have trouble, into that turn hard, through the turn, drove away from them, and then again pulling up. She was blowing not as bad as she was the other day. So that stiff workout she had on Saturday obviously played a positive role on the way she trained today. We'll keep her backed up to 234, 235 speed, as I said, for about 5 or 6 training trips. Want to get her legs back under her. She felt great at Christmas, but remember, without hobbles on, she got that beautiful fluid gait, but she could swing to the pace easy. So we put the hobbles on her and had to add some weight to her front end. In doing that, again, remember what I said. I don't like putting weight on horses with hobbles because the hobbles can work against that weight. You got to do what you got to do. It was funny. Harry and I were talking about it the other day, and Harry said he was beside an old horseman. I forget who one time. And Harry said, geez, I just don't like the way he shod. And the old guy looked at Harry and said, it doesn't matter what you like. It's whether he likes it. So whatever it takes to get them there is what we're going to do. And when it comes to Barbie's Crown, she did it fantastic today. I'd like to see 5 trips like that over the next 2.5 weeks, and then I think you'll see a much, much different, much better Barbie's Crown come forward. So as I said, those are the 2-year-olds that I went or watched today. I didn't go with That's My Girl, James did, but she looked awesome. Broadway Roll I went with. Jazzy Judy, Just her first trip back with an open bridle. She was goofing off, but looked good. We'd given her some time off. Her knees didn't appear to be bothering her on the track, but looked like they were getting a little puffy. So we backed off with her, as we were going to anyway. She's getting ready to start back up now and looks good. Argento was much better. Little shoeing change coming with Argento. Barbie's Crown was fantastic, and Italian Grit was very, very good today. Got to work on consistency with him. Now, I went with some 3-year-olds also. Knockdown Dragout did not train today. She come back to Tamiko with a little track rash. It happens from time to time. I'm gonna go down to get a drink quickly. It happens from time to time that Knockdown Dragout, that horses will come back with a rash, and we had a couple too. One My Heart Hanover ended up with a rash on her neck and her ear, which was really painful for her. She doesn't like you touching her ear. It was funny because I didn't want to put a bridle on her because it was raw and it bothered her. So I put 2 little clips on a snaffle bit and snapped it to her halter. This is a 2-year-old. Amy said, "You're going to kill yourself." I said, "Listen, it wasn't that long ago. We jogged lots of horses, lots of old horses like this. This filly's pretty smart. Don't worry about her. And she can get a little rowdy. We wear a hood on her sometimes. Maybe that's where the ear thing came from. We wear a hood on her and try to keep her quiet. I went out and jogged her. She literally had a snaffle bit snapped to her halter. It wasn't going to come out or anything. It was, that way it was all right. She jogged 1, 2, 3, 4, just like a little kitten yesterday and today and looked great. But that rash, once it gets here, Knockdown Dragout came back last week, a little rash on her rump. Filly ended up with a little bit on her ear. It hovers in that area. So Amy has both those horses. So we're just dealing with that. I didn't want to train Knockdown Dragout with that little bit of rash on her. Just left her alone today. But I did train Canadian Titan. For those of you out there wondering how Titan is. So we had made some significant shoeing and equipment changes on Canadian Titan over the last month. She's sounder. She's a lot more confident and feels great. Sure, you saw her make the breaks the other day, but as I say, she's a lot more confident. She's still a big filly on a little track, and there is some self-confidence there. Just a little, she's a little lacking in that department. I trained her today by herself. She was very, very good. Very, very strong. Exactly what I would like to see. So, for Canadian Titan, really impressed with her today. Knockdown Dragout didn't train. I think there was one other one. Oh, Rooney Blue Chip trained him a slow mile too. He was good. I was happy overall with the day. I was a little surprised I was so tired, but those cold days, and it was windy too, those cold windy days always knock the crap out of me in the winter, especially with everything going on. I think it's just the way that my schedule has come unglued, right? I worked my whole life as a driver. I knew that I worked hard in the morning, had a little bit of a nap, and then went and raced at night. That was 2 decades. Right? And then we switched gears. I was in politics, but I was always on my toes in politics, mostly because I was full of Red Bull. But I was always on my toes because I had to be always on my toes. People were always asking questions that you weren't always sure you could answer or answer properly. So you were always ready. That was a tiring time in my life, but nothing like this where, you go to the barn and there's no racing, right? And maybe it's just the depression inside the industry. And it's not like it was. I saw a video today that Jim Lawson had done, and it was a great information session for a lot of people that tuned in. And you could tell he was very reserved in his answers. When are we getting back racing? What are we doing? And these long timelines, some of these kids that are driving on the B tracks, I don't know how they're getting by, right? And I'm only just getting by, so it's not like I can just say, hey, do you need a hand? But I hope to God somebody's helping them, because, if you're a younger kid racing on a B track, you haven't been racing for a month, and now you've been told that it might be late in May before you get racing again, and you don't know what racing will look like when you do get back. That's scary, and it's beyond scary. I've been there. I lived this in 2012, and we thought we'd lose everything. Now we have lost everything. We don't know when we're going to get it back. I think the good news is that Ontario has really stepped up as far as sending some relief out to people. And I believe that we are going to get back racing soon. I want to believe the end of May, 1st of June. And here's the thing. Everybody keeps asking everybody all the time, when do we start to even remotely get back to normality? We all know the answer, I guess, in our heart of hearts. We don't know, right? This is how this virus is going to behave in April. Will tell the story for May and June. So trying to forecast, you have to do it, I guess, on a worst case, best case scenario. And I think Jim Lawson said today, worst case would be into July. Best case would be somewhere before that. I think he's aiming for when the emergency shutdown ends, when this phase that we're in Ontario ends and some of the restrictions are lifted on May 12th, which I assume they will be. At that point, we can make some real decisions on when we're going to get back. And I believe there's probably going to be maybe a 2-week window there. So I'm thinking June 1st. And somebody had sent me a message. A bunch of people did today, and said, what are your takes on what Jim said, or what are your takes on everything? I'm in the dark as much as you. I believe if you read between the lines, I think Jim was being extremely cautious. Didn't want to give any false hope, but at the same time didn't want to give any false information. I believe that Ontario will begin to slowly start moving forward the middle of May, if April goes well, which it appears it is so far. As far as this virus is concerned, and then the 1st of June, hopefully we can get back here. I had an email from Tim Twaddle, as I said earlier in this video. He thought the end of May they would be back going, which would be cool, or the 1st of May he thought, which was bullish, but I wouldn't say bullshit. I would say it's bullish, it's aggressive, but hey, great. If they are, that would be good for us. We do have some 3-year-olds that are ready to rock right now. Path of Totality looked unbelievable last week, Just for Me and You, Sebastian You. There's a number of horses there that are ready to go. And Nancy Allison even looked good the other day. I'm missing horses, I know. It would be great to get moving. Now, the scariest part for Anthony McDonald is, what do? I can go and race the horses. I'm not coming back to my house unless I can be tested. I can't go to Ohio and Pennsylvania and then just walk back into my front room. That's not going to happen. And furthermore, Ontario's not stupid. And the paddock judge at Mohawk, great guy, Dave, but he's a bit of a, he's not that that's a bad thing, but he's very strict. So I would suspect they're not going to be too happy about Anthony McDonald coming back to the Mohawk paddock without being tested. Problem is, where the hell do I get tested? I looked the other day. I don't know how to get tested. They have an antibodies test that's supposed to be ready soon, even here in Canada. I'd like to know how that will take place. I suspect there'll be nobody in Canada tested as much as me this summer. I'm happy, man. Draw as much blood or take as much saliva as you want. I want to make sure that I'm healthy for my family, and I don't want to be dragging stuff back to Ontario. That would be disastrous. But I am going to work for my clients. You think I'm tired now? Check in mid-July without my family on the road with me running to Ohio and Pennsylvania all the time, wondering if I'm dragging COVID-19 around with me. That will be a stressful time. But this is the day in the life we live on. I got broad shoulders, and I am committed to, 1, raising my family safely and healthily and happily, and 2, building something that we set out to do together, and I'm going to continue to do it. So it's going to be a long, long summer for us, and for me especially, if we get back racing and when we get back racing. So we're hoping for a June 1st start. I would suspect end of May, 1st of June in Ontario. If everything goes the way Tim thinks, let's say May 15th to be conservative, and then I would suspect Ohio will be right at the same time. So we could get back to some form of normal business in Ohio and Pennsylvania mid-May, and hopefully back here, and I guess New Jersey, whatever. I'm tell you right now, I'm not going to New Jersey. I'm not going to New York. So we'll have to move quickly to shore up the training stuff. As far as that goes, we have been contacted by a couple of trainers that want to do some business. Obviously, this is a bad time for everybody. So that is still everywhere up in the air. But rest assured, it's not just going to be, throw a dart at the dartboard and figure, okay, that's where the horse is going. I have an idea of what's going on, but I haven't solidified any of it yet because I don't know what's going on. When it comes to Bottle of Red and brush cut, I'm not a big fan of getting them onto a half-mile track anyway. So they spend some time in Ontario and race for virtually the same amount of money they'd race for in the Excelsior Series. Fine. If they look like they're going to be stake horses, like sire stake horses, fine. Where are we going to race them? These are things that are always, maybe that's why I'm tired, because nothing is solidified yet. Nothing about my life other than the fact that I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go to sleep in that house down there is certain anymore. So everything rattling around in my empty head has caused me to be fatigued. So I'm going to get a drink. I'm going to go home. I'm going to finish my emails, send out some new ones, and then I will get up and do it all again tomorrow. So for today, the project horses, the only horse left to get straightened out in my mind, I believe, is Carry a Big Stick. I'm working on him. His leg has come down from where he was crowd on that left front leg. That splint was nasty, and I think it still bothers him a little bit. He's working on some other issues. I've ordered a shoeing change for him behind also. We'll get to the bottom of him when you look at GW Chrome, or even Let's Roll On. Any number of those horses that weren't perfect are now and are going good. Keystone Raven is still a little iffy on that ankle. We're getting that looked at tomorrow. I was trying to get the vet out, but the vet, I think what the vets are doing are trying to load their schedules in areas so they don't have to be all around like they were before. So if they could come to Tamiko and do a number of things, then that's they'll load it up all in one day, which I don't blame them. So I had sent the message to the vet the other day, just waiting back for confirmation when that's going to be looked at. I don't think it's super serious, anything in that ankle, but she isn't 100% sound on it. So I want to know what it is. There's no point hoping that she's going to be better tomorrow. I want to know she's going to be better tomorrow, or I want to know she's going to be better in 3 weeks, but I need to know she's going to be better. So we're going to get to the bottom of that. So any few little issues, that's my job the next few weeks will be cleaning up those rough areas, the Carry a Big Sticks, the Keystone Ravens, the things of that nature, and making sure that when they say, hey, we're going to start racing in 2 weeks, that our stable is the most ready to go. So that's a plan. I hope we're implementing it well. It feels like we are. We're well on schedule and on track with the 2-year-olds, and our 3-year-olds are ready to go. Can't be any more ready than that. So that is a long video for the middle of the week, but I suspect you guys have nothing better to do. You looked at 4 hours of them on Monday, so what's 27 minutes? I hope you guys had a good start to the week. If you're in Ontario, it's cold, it's miserable, but at the same time, at least it's not snowing and raining. It snowed a little bit today, but it's gone now. Hope the weather looks up. So our plan is we trained lightly today, trained lightly on Saturday. I'm going to drone for you guys on Wednesday. That's my plan. I'm going to double back with Curtis. The weather looks a little iffy. There's a chance of rain. Obviously, we can't drone in the rain, but obviously the weather a week from now, it's very fluid still. So we're hoping for a next Wednesday drone for everybody in the barn. Again, another long day at Tamiko. But as I said to all our trainers and all our caretakers that are like, oh, we're training everything, be lucky we have horses to train. So thank you very much. I'll talk to you guys soon. Stay safe, stay healthy. Have a good week.